That's so I don't, so you can actually watch the videos. I had to create music nowadays because now they'll just copyright all of it, right? So you're gonna have to, do that stuff. So hey, yeah, that was one of my things that I'm doing on the side. It's all fun and stuff, right? All right. First session and first lesson for the new guys. You should feel welcome. Um, again, we've sort of introduced um, something in the back testing session just before this, so we're just sort of continuing, and we'll dig deeper today into what a breathing room is. Now, you can have a bunch of different words for it, right? There's multiple words. There's called swings. There's you know, uh, buy-side and sell-side liquidity, which I absolutely don't believe in, but especially swings. Now, first and foremost, what a breathing room is, a breathing room at the end of the day could be considered as a swing, right? For you guys that have been part of DTFX, um, you know what a swing is at this point. But the reason why I call it a breathing room is only because I was too dumb to realize what a breathing room actually was. I didn't understand the technicality of things behind a breathing room or behind a swing because I didn't deep enough into it, right? I was absolutely trading profitably with GTFX and all of those things, but that was sort of based on what I was coming from. And then I just tried to put my words down into it, right? But the reason why I call it a breathing room is because it's an efficient way for me to read price in a really flowy state. All right. So when it comes to breathing rooms just like this, the reason why I call it that is imagining people walking up a mountain or something and then stopping to take a breath to continue up walking. So it's essentially to create this very end of the day story about what is happening within price. Because at the end of the day, when price is stopping to breathe just like this, that tells you something. That in there is the important area, which would be considered to be a swing. It could be considered this and that. But here's the kicker: swings can look differently. Breathing rooms can only look differently based on the size, the amount of candles, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It will operate as the same thing in the market. It will operate as the very area in which price is looking to sweep. And this is where the wonderful P2 exists. And this is how it essentially all started for me, because one of the things that I managed to do wrong all the time was getting in on this type of move, getting in here at 50%, and I was stopped out. That was one of my bigger problems. But what I didn't realize is that over time, I was stopped out sometimes more than I was getting my one-to-one before it continued lower. And that was based on my idea. So then I took a different idea and a different approach. And that was to say, okay, where I usually get stopped out, what if I get in at that area? And the P2 was created. All of this was together with SBS. I created my own system in about 11 days. 11 days it took me to watch the SBS video to create my entire own thing from it. It's completely different. It's not the same. Uh, and so when it comes to this very structure, what we're going to talk about specifically today is the breathing rooms. Why this is so extremely important is because everything that you will be watching in the market will start with you watching this thing until you automatically see this thing. But it all has to start somewhere, right? So it has to start here. This is going to be your probably your easiest lecture to understand, but it's also going to be the most required work, because if you understand where all of these are located, you will understand where all of the number twos are going to potentially be created. So I don't count breathing rooms. I don't count the amount of swings. I don't count nothing of that. I read the current and the future with the expectation, right? So the reason why I say that, we'll dig deeper into breathing rooms just in a second here. Um, the reason why I say that is because when price is up here, what are we expecting price to do in order for us to be part of this very move? This is the expectation that we are waiting for when we understand that this breathing room exists here. So just by that tiny distinction of understanding where is the breathing room, you will automatically be ready for when something happens. Now that puts you one step ahead of everybody else. Because while everybody's sitting here and looking to participate in this move here that is currently going on, you are essentially waiting, understanding that. But when we sweep this, everybody is going to think that price is going to do that. But that's not going to be the case. What price is going to do is do this to create that three. Because guess what, guys? Guess where I usually got stopped at? Right here. Because now price has shifted in order flow. So price moves up here and should move out. But it rarely does. According to, at least until how I read it, if you can say so. So, um, so my understanding of price is coming from a flow state. It's coming from a level in which I understand that if we sweep that, I'll be ready to take this. And if I take this, I'll be ready to move up to here. And if price moves up here, with which is my expectation, then I might be looking for price to do something of this manner to connect with the entire story, to create an inside two, to move back down into that two, to create that 4 or 5, to move back up into, yes, the one bounce, right? Move back up into the one bounce, tell me where we're gonna head based on what is happening in here, and we're gonna participate in that move as well. But it all starts back over here at the breathing room. So the first thing they can do, this is what we back tested earlier today for you guys that joined up for that. For you other guys, it's recorded, so it'll be dropped soon as well. What you're seeing right here, of course, is just a random chart. It's just a chart pattern. I never watch time. I don't. I will never, most likely. Um, but what you should be doing here in this very instance, what I want your eye to be popping up into, is that very thing of breathing rooms. And so I just want you guys to take a couple of seconds to read from this point to this point. Read everything that is in here and note out the breathing rooms for yourself inside your mind. And I will run over it for myself in just a second. All right? Just do that. Just note it out in your mind. You don't have to note it out in the chart. You don't have to do nothing of that. Just what draws your attention here? That's what I want you to be looking at. All right, given way more time you need, we're going to start over here. We're going to read price backwards. Starting over here, in this very price like noted, 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 potentially noted, noted, noted here, over here, this entire thing, here, 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 up here, over here, this one, my bad, this one right there, that one, right here, right there, here, right in here, that's one, not that one. As you may see, there's a heck ton of them where price can do something specific. I think that's ICT's hairline. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So this one as well. So, and we can just run over these ones as well. It's pretty straightforward here. So as you can see, these levels, price is moving up, stopping, taking a breath, and then moving higher. Or moving down, stopping, taking a breath, and then moving lower. This is the first thing that your eye should be drawn into when you're reading price. This is the first thing that should be popping to your mind when you're reading price in this manner. Because it's through these levels that you are going to participate in price. This is when you know, when we sweep this, we'll tap into a potential 2 to move into a potential 1. That will create number 3. Now, all of these numbers and all of these sequences will run over that into a deeper, in a deeper level in the next lecture. But for now, I want you to focus down on breathing rules, right? And I can't stress enough how important this very thing is. It's in the basics. You will have to run back into this later on, especially if you don't focus down on these things right now. So when it comes to breathing rooms in this matter, the reason why they are so important, right? Oh, that's not actually one. Let's pick a good one, right? Like this one. The reason why they're so important is because while you're reading price going lower, taking a breath, moving up, and moving lower again, this is the area you are looking to create that potential 2 in. Now it's very important again that you understand these breathing rooms. They are going to become on a different time frame. They're going to become of interest for you on different time frames as we move on within the lectures and within the information that is going to be given. So it's highly important that you read through these very things. It's highly important that you actually sit down, learn these things, so that you can efficiently follow along with it. Within those breathing rooms, you can create a potential 2. That's a potential 2 into a potential 1. The reason why I say that is because if we run back into here, right now we just have price sweeping this breathing room, sweeping this breath, and then it might run lower into that 1 down here. And the reason why this is a potential 1, this is also something people get stuck at. The reason why people get stuck at potential 1 is because they start by looking for number 1. That is not the case with this model. You cannot be looking at number 1 all over the place. It's going to destroy you. Because When we're looking for number one, imagine this. This is current price. You're saying that that is officially a one. What if price does this? Don't you just have a potential one all over the place? Potential one, potential one, potential one. That's just price going down. But it's not until price does this very cute thing right here that this becomes a P1 and this becomes a P2. The P stands for potential. So that potential 2 is going to look to potentially run into this low. Now, if this happens, and when it happens, both of these numbers will be created at the same time. The number 2 and the number 1 will be created on the same level at the same time, together with the 3, which is not going to be a potential 3. So 1, 2, and 3 are going to be created at the very same time. This is not a potential 3. We're going to run into that when we come into numbers characteristics. What are the jobs for specific numbers? All right. So with this, you can understand that price is going to run lower. All right. So it's the same manner here. That's a potential 2, still a potential 2. Now it's now it's an official 2. That's a 1, which means that must be a 3. So I've said this, I think I've said this in the YouTube series that some of you guys have watched. Actually, all of you guys must have watched it. Um, when it comes to this very thing, we need to set it straight. We're looking for number 2 first. That's how we align ourselves with the market. If we understand where the number 2 is located at, we will understand all of the moves in the market. We will understand the turning points. We will understand the switch arounds. We will understand if we're bullish, if we're bearish. We will understand all these things. That's a definite. So it's a matter of reading price for where the number 2 has been officially being created. So one of the things that I like to do at first in the beginning, you've seen me doing that in the back testing already. Where are the shit show levels located at? What that essentially means is where was price within a sequence inefficient and where did number 3 continue lower, leaving that 2 up top here. I've now started to look for the number 2 in terms of what are our POYs in the market. But what we also need to understand, if we're reading price like this and that 2 succeeds to run lower, we're officially in sync. We understand that that's a 3, which must mean that's the 2, which also is a 4 or 5 on the lower time frame. Multi-time frame sequences coming along in the future. But that's a 4 or 5, right? So at the same time that is a 2, that's also a 4 or 5 that tells us bearish. Number 3 might run up here and might continue lower. So we need to understand that the first thing that sets everything off is understanding where the breathing rooms are located at. Because if you don't, you will not understand where the 2 is located at. And now you might ask, but Jay, how do I know where, the official breathing room is at? How many candles is it? How does it look like? It's going to be on different time frames. So what I would like you guys to do after this lecture and up until the next lecture, I'm going to ask of you to do multiple breathing rooms and read through multiple days of what a breathing room actually is. Because a breathing room is different to everybody. And I want you to be specific. Where do you think price has stopped to take a breath? If we're running higher, where does price stop and breathes to continue later on? That right there, with that information, you don't need to know how many swings we have, what it looks like, how it feels like, what are the rules behind a breathing room. No, because as I mentioned, I can enter on the tick charts. So one candle on a tick chart is, guess what? That low is a breathing room. Because guess what, guys? You see this right here? We move up, move down, move higher. That's a breathing room. And we move up, we move down, and we move higher. That's also a breathing room. So everything in the market is actually a breathing room. Everywhere in the market, you have a reason to be participating in price. There is not one area, not one time frame, not one time in price where you cannot participate and make a shit ton of money in the markets. That's just not the case. You're going to be able to participate in all types of price action at all times throughout every single year, throughout all news events. I haven't, again, I mentioned this. I haven't watched news events in multiple months. Seriously, I think I actually watched it one time the other day when we were just speaking about there was some big news event coming along, and we were just getting ready for that. I think I mentioned it once, and so it doesn't really matter. All right. That's what I'm saying. Higher volatility doesn't really matter. It's going to do what I want it to do, anyways. It's just going to move there faster, less efficient. That's all it is. And so when we're watching breathing rooms in this manner and understanding this, we will understand where the potential twos are. If we understand where number two is, we will understand where number one is, which means we will understand where number three is, which means we'll most likely understand where and what is going to happen when we sweep that number two. Well, the four or five, that tells us if we are bullish or bearish on where the next two. So you are always going to look for a sequence, C3, and then it's a 4 or 5, and then you might look for this very move right here and be participating in that. Because now you understand that, what? Look at this. Potential 2, actually a 2. Perfect. That is number 1. Now that is number 3. You will never see me writing out or mentioning that the 3 exists before the 2 does. I always go to number 2, which means that's 1, that's 3. Price might do this. 4, 5. Run up higher. Run lower. That's a 4 and 5 that runs itself. We're now officially what? Bearish. Price, if price does this, then we're looking for that to create that too. Price might do this, might do that, might do this, might do that into this. 2, that is a potential to run into this low, but that's not a 1 because number 2 fails. We run that high, run lower, run itself. Price runs higher, sweeps that high. You were not able to participate in price over here. We sweep that too, which means that what? That's a 3, and that's a number 1. And F2 says here, and then you might have this very tiny movement in here actually to participate to the move to the upside. Now we're in that 4 or 5 up here, right? And price does this into that. And guess what, guys? While I just did this, hopefully not a single one of you guys should say, I'm taking long here. No, you're taking long down here. So guess what you're doing? You're waiting for bullish price action as we're going down, getting ready for this area to run higher, to create that 2 again. And as you can see, what you have right here is what some of you guys call market structure, because you might tap into this area right here. But what I see is just an efficient sequence. See how they are overlapping, right? This is how they're overlapping. The failed 4 and 5 is overlapping with the next two that is coming along to play the game. So what you have right here is somewhat also the multi-time frame sequence, but you need to understand that the breathing rooms is sitting here, is right there, it's right in here, it's right in here. So you're focusing down on the areas where there are no numbers, most likely. We'll dig into deeper into it that it actually is a number in multi-time frame sequence. But for now, to find the number two, because I promise you, if you can find number two, it's gonna be so much easier for you to understand where and when the sequences are going to be played out, how it's going to look like, what you are going to target, what you're going to be interested in. And for some of you guys, this might look like seek and destroy conditions. It's going all over the place. There's no such thing in this model as a bad time, as bad conditions. No. The only problem that you're going to have is yourself and your own mind. That's all it is. You will learn the model. You will realize pretty fast that the very sequence that is going to play out is is the thing that you are going to see all the time. This that you have right in front of you right here is all that you are going to do, from watching the entire story, from understanding the entries, from understanding the taps, the turnarounds, the turning points. This right here, I know a lot of people here can confirm that this is what everybody is watching, but they're watching it on multi time frames, multiple time frames at the same time. And that's not necessarily hard to do when you start to understand the core foundations of it. Now, I know a lot of you guys have already watched this and you feel like this is old information. I promise you that the F2, for example, that has not been deeply taught yet in the YouTube or publicly. Because there is an F2 right here, sure. But where does it actually turn into F2? Does it actually turn into F2 here? No, not actually up here. So how does that incorporate? Well, we can use the smaller time frames to confirm that there's an F2 down here that we can participate in this. So there's multiple things that we're going to add on to this, but I need to make sure that everybody is on the same page when it comes to understanding the sequences. And in order for us to do that, we need to understand the breathing rooms. All right. So think of breathing rooms as this. Where does price, according to me in my own brain, where does price stop and take a breather? Where does it stop, take a breath, and continues? Where does it go, stop, continue? Go, stop, continue. It can be a matter of 2 seconds if it's, according to you, a breathing room. But it's according to your brain, and you need to be able to say, this is obviously a breathing room to me. Obviously a breathing room to me. I'm not talking rule sets. I'm not talking close over the other candle. I'm not talking this and that. That's too complicated for me because I'm reading price in the flow. I have no time to think about, oh, did this actually close above here? Oh, no, it was just a wick, so it's nothing. No, that's not the case for me. That's never going to be the case for me. I can participate in price all over the place if my story is correctly aligned with the technicals that I have in front of me. And this right here is what you saw me do with a bunch of squiggly lines and all over the place. This is what you saw me doing in the back testing just just an hour ago or so. This was it right here. And so breathing rooms are very, very important when it comes to understanding where the number two is potentially being created. All right. Then we're going to add on to that the failed twos, and we're going to add the three into two and the three inside the two, and all of these complicated things. But that's only going to prolong your process of learning this if you don't understand where the breathing room is located at. So I want you to be perfectionists when it comes to understanding where to potentially be participating in the market. Because if you're seeing price doing this very thing right here, let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. When you're seeing price doing this very thing in here, you shouldn't even consider participating in price over here if you don't have the knowledge for it. You shouldn't even be interested in price over here. Because right here we don't have a breathing room. Right in here. Where is the breathing room in here? It doesn't exist. And did price ever run above this height? No. So this is not officially a breathing room. This is just price going sideways. But of course, I mentioned to you guys before that this right here is a CBC. Candle by candle is what that stands for. And that is a 2 into a 3 to turn around. So this is a breathing room on the smaller time frame. All guys react to this if you agree with the importance that Jay's saying is about breathing rooms. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, this is the information that is very, very, very important. Um, because when prices um, being very annoying and all over the place, and according to you, very annoying, somebody else is going to read it perfectly like nothing else. And when you read it through their eyes, they have just understood where the breathing room is located at. And when they understand that, they understand where the 2 is, which means they will understand where 1 and 3 is, which means they will understand where the 4 and 5 might be created to tell them the next direction of the next sequence coming along through a breathing room. So you see how everything is connected? That's sort of the kickstart. So does that make sense to all of the new guys, also the old guys for that matter as well? Or are we clear on that stuff? Does it make sense? Awesome. And guess what? Isn't it relieving? It's so relieving when we understand that there is not a specific rule about what it should look like. No, you can participate in every single breathing room you can be part and read price from because everything in the market is readable. I started marking them out, marking them on my chart, and started seeing more 2s almost right away. Exactly. Just like that. Just like that. It just goes bang. Wait a second. That's sticking out. That high is sticking out. You're marking that breathing. Wow, that is sticking out. Because price should be doing this, but now it's just doing this. So you're automatically gonna see a pattern within price that is gonna be, oh, wait a second, that is sticking out. Oh, wait, that is sticking out. So you're automatically going to incorporate that inside your brain. Say, oh, that is something. Oh, that is something interesting. That is something interesting. That is something interesting. And from there, we're gonna step it up notches, way more. So this is, I'm talking, this is this is child's play. But in order for us to advance into some real shit, real advanced stuff where people are literally in this group, they're grabbing 18 hours a day and they're still not satisfied. That's the type of group I'm running. All right, that's the people you are working with as we speak. They're sitting in this very discord, in this very group right now with you guys. So I'm telling you, when it comes to this stuff, um, yeah, now now the autism mode begins because we're gonna step up, and I get very, very excited when I get to speak about these things because it has changed my life, man. I'm talking, I'm talking. We're gonna dig down deeper into all of this shit. I'm talking when we're reading the moves to the tick charts. You're reading the 1 minute candles and understanding how price is going to be moving accordingly to that. And that's how autistic this is. And this is why you will learn very, very fast because I'm not the type of guy that likes to drag things out. I like to push things. You do a lot of work. You take all the credit for all the work you're doing, by the way. And in that instance, we're getting to the deeper shit very, very fast. Very fast. So there's people in here that are like, you know, you're gonna see that they are, um, they're like, Holy smokes. Major like we started this group in what, June? Something like that. I don't know what it was, but yeah, June. We started in June, and people in here are pulling 30 Rs here and there, left and right over the course of a week. 5 trading days, 30 Rs, and people are still not satisfied. That's the speed I'm looking to teach in. That's the speed and the pressure I'm looking to push on each and every single one of you in here. So that pressure forms, it's cheesy, but it forms diamonds. It forms real aggressive traders that they're gonna drive over anyone in any time and still looking to do more, right? So you will most likely see that in the weekly recap as well. You know, I mentioned the other day that on X that we had 230 Rs in a week over the course of, I think it was 15 people, something like that. 15 people that pulled in 230 Rs. The other week we had 2 weeks ago, I think we had I don't know what it was, 260 Rs in a week, something like that, and that was on 10 people. So that's how fast people are progressing and kicking ass with the market. So I'm telling you guys, uh, put in the extra work. And yes, I do say do the 3 times the amount I usually tell you, because that will just escalate your learning. The faster you learn, the faster you can piss off. That's how it works. And I'm not looking to sugarcoat shit. I'm not that type of teacher. So when I'm teaching my model, when I'm teaching how I'm reading price in this matter, I'm doing it fast. And if you guys think you go very, very fast, I promise you I will be one step ahead of you, so you guys will always feel behind. I would say in the beginning when everybody was learning this, I would say 100% of people, and I asked this before as well, 100% of the people told me that they feel behind. They feel behind. My entire goal, guys, is to make you feel behind, because when you do, you decide to either push or you are gonna leave the group. That's how it goes. You're gonna push, try to catch up, which you will never do until you're done with sort of the baseline information. Now people are kicking my ass. I saw Huckle kick my ass the other day in terms of R's, right? So the goal is to beat me, so you really got to beat me, right? So you are trying to catch up to me and become better than me. That's my entire goal with all of this. I want you guys to become better traders than myself, so you guys can kick my ass when it comes to the market. That's when I'm satisfied with your performance. So you guys are always going to have to play the catch up game. I'm always going to be one step ahead until you realize one day you're going to be so far ahead of me, hopefully, that you're going to go so fast. You're going to pass everybody. Everybody you're going to pass because you're going at those speeds. That's why you've seen the enormous amount of progress that people have been doing in here, because I pushed them so hard and they've put so much freaking time into this. And I'm telling you, and I'm not like, I was amazed in the beginning of how hard people were pushing. So, um, so we're gonna be digging down deeper into the autism shit, right? And I get excited. So if you guys also, I'll mention this for the future. If you guys have any questions, really feel free to ask me questions as I am teaching this, because I just get too excited because I get hyped up with all of this information. Because, for example, I'm telling you guys, there's a reason for every tick, right? Did I mention that? Well, look at this. You guys saw that that was a 2, right? Everybody with me, right? Everybody see that that's a 2. We're running this breathing room right in here, right? Yes or no? I want to see if you're active and see if you're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing right in front of me right now. Especially the new guys. I want to see if you're following along with that very thing. So you see that that's a 2, that's a 1. Let's zoom in a bit. Now we're starting somewhat. I'm going to give you a taste of the autism. Because what you see right here, look at these candles. There's a trade in here. Price moves lower, it moves up, it moves down, it moves up. Isn't that what I just talked about over here? A fail 2. See that? Down, up, down, up. And we can do it. We can do it in a. So we have this. Down, up, down, up. Look what that candle does right here. Does this. So price runs lower, sweeps this low to create that 2. This, people, is what we call the CBC. Candle by candle. You're reading a full sequence within 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. And that 2 is running into that 3. So now I have a 3 and a 2 at the same spot. Isn't 3 looking to run into the shit show too? Yes. Isn't the 2 looking to run into the potential 1? Yes. So now you have 2 reasons to go lower. And guess what? At every 2, there's a 4 and 5. So somewhere within price on the tick chart in here, there's a 2. And this is where the autism begins. But that's for later. And that was just a random point I pointed out in price. I can do that anywhere. Um, so what I will be looking to do here is I want you guys to focus down just in the beginning of the first week. Just focus down on noting out the breathing rooms. So what you're going to do for yourself as a lecture or as a homework, just do this. That's a breathing room to me. That's a breathing room to me. And after you've noted out a breathing room, look what happens after that. And just for yourself, don't note down any numbers, nothing like that. Just take note of what happens when we sweep a breathing room like that. Just take note of that. And then we're going to continue on in the future with multiple time frames, multiple 2s, 3s and 2s at the same spot all over the place. That's going to make so much more sense in the future. Okay. um, so that's what you're going to start with doing. And I think we were up for about 10 days, 10 trading days worth of just noting out the breathing rooms just like this. And just take note after you noted out a breathing room. If we swept it, look what happens after. Most likely a 2. All right. That's going to be a potential 2. Now what happens after that? And then you note that out. Just note things out and just to get in sync with things. So we can faster and faster get rid of the market structure mindset. That needs to be gone. That's going to be gone within 2 weeks, hopefully. Want a specific session? I don't trade specific sessions. I can trade midnight, whatever. I can trade weekends, whatever. So you can utilize that through everything. Um, yeah, for your markups, you can do everything, 24/7. And I want just 10 full days. So 10 full days worth of price action. Just copy, paste that picture when you have a big picture of a day and send that in the homework channel for the members. We're gonna open up the homework 1 thread, and that's where you're gonna send them, right? And send all the picture at once if you can. Otherwise, just spam it out there, and I'll figure that out for sure. Let's see. I was seeing when doing some backtesting that I thought I had 2 and 3 at the same place, but I thought I was seeing it wrong. This makes me think maybe I wasn't completely. No. We can have multiple time frames. We're gonna run into that deeper, Smear, where we're gonna have you're gonna see threes and twos at the same spot, um, and on multiple time frames. So they're gonna work together with one another. That's going to make so much more sense as well when we're running into numbers characteristics. What is the characteristic behind the number, right? Um, so yeah, Kai said it right. It's more advanced. You need to understand all the technicals first, then the story part, which is the final step. So you have actually two steps: understand all the technicals, then understand the story. Two steps. If you understand those two steps, you'll be kicking ass like Kai, Haku, Saki's, whoever, right? You'll be kicking ass. So, and be content with the information given. I promise you, I'm not trying to withhold the information for as long as possible so you can stay as long as possible. That's not my goal. I want you to be pissing off as soon as possible. That's my goal, right? I make my money from trading. I don't make my money from the group. So, with that said, I want you to be very understandable of the process. I know some people had a problem with that in the beginning, but it goes fast. We can be done with all the information if you push through as a team. We can be done with the foundational information within a month. Absolutely. Or just about over a month. Absolutely. And you will know all the foundational topics that you will be taught here. And then you're automatically going to see your own things within the market, which is going to be amazing. And you're going to understand and create your own unique feeling and your unique model around it that nobody else in the world is going to trade. And it's perfectly fit for you. So, definitely. So, I'm telling you, there's a reason for all the steps, and I'm doing it as fast as possible. We can probably do it faster based on how fast you are progressing with each and every single step. That's absolutely doable. Uh, but I really want you to understand that roughly 5 6 weeks should be all the foundational information, and you should be able to understand the technicals. So when we're reading price and back testing or live, you will understand what is going on. You will understand what is playing out in front of you. You will understand the numbers. You will understand the multi time frames, all that stuff. 6 weeks, and then you can add the story. That's going to take. Uh, it's a bit personal at that point. That's going to be the tough part of the learning curve, um, where a lot of people actually break. But so my goal is to ideally push you to the edge to hit a wall. I talk about walls a whole lot. To hit a specific wall mentally where you are feeling absolutely terrible, and that's when you have to make the decision to push harder or stop pushing. It's either one. So if you've ever felt like this before, you've traded for 2 weeks, it goes great, then you hit a wall and it goes horrible. I'm sure some of you people understand what I mean with that. And that's because you're running into a wall. And that very wall that is in front of you, you have the decision to keep on pushing or change direction. Now, I used to be a strategy hopper, right? I created multiple models before, but nowhere near as strong as this one. Um, so and that was because I didn't understand that. Okay, now we're failing after 2 weeks, so now I'm switching over to this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that, and then it works for 2 weeks and then it stops working and this and that and this. See, that's what I did before I started to understand all of it, and so my goal is to push you to that very wall where you're gonna hit that wall and be like, all right, I have a decision to make. It didn't stop working. You stopped working because you are facing a wall right now, and you need to push through that very wall yourself. And I'm gonna be there to push you through it, right? Um, because there's a lot of good things coming along on the other side of that. You're gonna become a better person. You're gonna become a better trader. Um, it's gonna it's gonna be really cool to see, and it's definitely gonna change your mindset for sure. So what I want you guys to do, as in terms of a homework, I want you guys to focus down on breathing rooms. 10 days, full days worth of back tested or forward tested, whatever. Forward test is going to take a whole lot of time, but where you note out just 10 consecutive days of breathing rooms and just take note of things that is appearing on the chart, so we can sort of automatically get rid of that market structure feeling, market structure understanding. That's going to disappear whether you like it or not. And that's for the better, because this is so disgustingly powerful. This is better than market structure, 100% over. I'm not going to mention names, but other people feel the same. Very good people in the industry. Um, so with that said, you guys, any more questions about the homework? Again, feel free to ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. All good? Awesome. And just make sure that if you have any questions, send in the general chat, or and people will help you out and stuff. When can we have your track in Spotify? That's Daywalker's question. You know, I will see, Daywalker. We'll see, man. We'll see if it happens. I just like creating music because I don't feel like we have that type of sound anymore. So, also, you guys feel free to, whenever you are, working or something. I've opened a voice members channel because after dark mode, what we did was we have that open because that's where people mentally feel like they're working. So feel free to sit in the voice members, chat with one another, discuss things together, work on your back testing or whatever it might be. People will be showing up there sometimes. So just make sure to I'm just making sure that you guys understand everything. And as you can see, we also have, help me charts, execution chart spam. That's where you can spam the heck out of it. Back testing, off topic, general, recorded material, homework. You can figure that stuff out yourself. Just make sure to ask yourself the question if you're posting in the right channel before you post anything, so it doesn't get clogged up, right? Um, so feel free to spam the execution chart spam channel and off topic as well. The general chat, try to keep it clean. Back testing can also be spammed. Help me charts, not as spammy. That's more of one big question, right? So we keep it tight. We keep it tight. Cool. So without further ado, I wish you a good homework session. For you guys tomorrow. We're gonna read live price tomorrow with members at um what is it? Is it 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. New York time? And for premium, we'll begin a bit earlier than that. Let's get this shit rolling. I'm excited to see you guys being mind blown. You're gonna see it over and over. Also, feel free. Absolutely, you have the opportunity to read and listen in to all of the YouTube videos that have been recorded before. Now you see, there's multiple ones, right? So if you do want to run ahead, just understand that you will most likely be confused if you run way ahead. I can promise you that, but it's your own decision if you do. It's going to most likely prolong your process if you rush ahead. I have it all scheduled out so you learn in the correct manner, in a good manner, in the right speed, so I can push you, right? But if you decide to go ahead and watch all the videos all over the place, then it's up to you when you get really confused. I'll keep on keeping track of everything, but you will most likely end up going back and having to catch up instead of just following along in the process that I've laid it out. Um, so faster is not always the better in this case when you're learning this information, because it goes autistic really, really fast. I'm sure the next lecture we're going to be talking about the pure informational sequence, how it all works, how it is held in hand in a better structural way. You know, when I posted those YouTube videos back then, I didn't know as much as I know that now. Now I have multiple months more of understanding them in a better manner, explaining them in a really good manner, and what is happening within these, right? So, so we're gonna go autistic mode faster than you think, but you need to make sure that this is set straight. Uh, all of the homework that I'm giving out starts after the lecture and continues up until the next lecture, which means 5 minutes before the next lecture that we have, that's when all of the information should be sent in. All right. All of your homework should be sent in 5 minutes before the next upcoming lecture. All right. And all of the events are uploaded every Sunday. Every Sunday, you will know all of the events for the entire week. That's how we have set it up here. Um, awesome. I'm really excited to see you guys being mind blown, and the same people in here have been mind blown over the last weeks. And with that said, I hope you have a great evening um, with a lot of charting. Uh, let's get shit going. Why don't we, right? Awesome.